can be quite sad listening to people's stories and realising the difficult situation they're in.
Devastated, I think, is the easiest way to describe it.
Unlike cancer or heart disease, which everyone's heard of, MS unfortunately is not that well known, not well understood.
However, I do find that some society's attitudes themselves can be more disabling than actually having the condition.
My name is Priyal. Now there are 62 million people living in the UK, and out of that, 100,000 people suffer from multiple sclerosis. 50 new people are diagnosed with MS a week. That means once every 3.5 hours someone is being diagnosed with the condition.
Oh, it was over 10 years ago now.
It took them many years to actually come to a clinically definite diagnosis.
I felt really like a freak, to be honest.
But I say that was about 94 when that was made.
I didn't know much about MS, although I'd heard of it. I didn't know any other Asian person who had MS, so it was not widely understood in the community, and I thought I was a freak, I was a one-off. It took me a long time to get to terms with those.
But actually there were probably signs and relapses before that, but there was no definite diagnosis until about 94, 95.
It took me a long time to come to terms with it, 3 to 6 months approximately. Before I could come to terms with it, I had to convince my family and friends exactly what it was and how it was going to affect me, and therefore I had to read a lot about it. As I'd become a couch potato really during that period, I thought I'm going to do something, and so I joined a gym and did regular exercise and made some changes to my diet and routine and carried on as if nothing's happened.
I think there was a feeling of uncertainty, isolation, devastation, and I say that from the point of view that we really didn't know what we were dealing with at that time, because there was quite a big shock as to what the implications might be, might not be, and is this really happening to me and to my family. So to put it in a simple word, I think complete shock.
Statistics say that there is a 1 in 800 chance of contracting MS. Multiple sclerosis is a neurological condition that affects the ability of the nerve cells to communicate with each other through the brain and spinal cord. MS has a wide range of symptoms, which are unpredictable and can affect everyone differently. These can be from numbness, to dizziness, to loss of sight, to fatigue, and more.
It was the numbness.
Generally it was right side paralysis.
Pins and needles, which started off in my hands, spread along the arms and down the whole left side of my body, right down my left leg.
I.e. the leg wouldn't move, the arm wouldn't move, and actually my mouth even on the right side. Or you could describe it as what people would know as a mini stroke. But at the time I didn't have a clue what was really happening.
Did they think it was something else?
Yes, I had lots of tests at hospital. First of all, they thought it may have been some sort of vitamin B12 deficiency, but as the numbness carried on increasing despite the drugs they gave me, they did further tests to diagnose MS after I had lumbar puncture and the MRI scan.
How many did you have before the diagnosis, relapses?
I would say possibly 2 or 3 of different types, but they weren't enough to actually stop me from actually living. of functioning. So actually I think I was able to carry on in some kind of ignorance. Blissful ignorance is the word probably.
I went to the National MS Society headquarters to find out their opinion on the condition.
So my role at the MS Society is to manage volunteers on the helpline. We have about 25 volunteers that are all based around the country who provide emotional support and information to people affected by MS. So that could be someone who has MS, or it could be a family member, a carer, things like that. I also take calls myself as well, and do most of the training and recruitment of the volunteers. Yeah, some of the calls that we receive on the helpline can be quite difficult. It can be quite sad listening to people's stories and realising the difficult situation they're in. And we're very aware at the MS Society that there are a lot of very difficult issues for people. Now that could be with their condition. You might be thinking about the things that they used to be able to do. They might have been a very active person, and now unfortunately because of their MS they're unable to do those things, and that can be really quite sad to hear. People can, for example, accuse people with MS of being drunk because some of the symptoms might look as though they've been drinking. And I've taken a lot of calls on the helpline from people that find that very difficult.
It's above my head.
Yeah.
I really don't care. You only have one life, you've got to get on with it. And the reason I primarily use the stick is to warn other people that there is something wrong. Give me some space, because as you know, with MS, I walk like a drunk, but I don't drink. I cannot walk in a straight line. In a crowded room, I can very likely walk into you. You're going to then say, if you obviously don't know me, not heard of me, you're just going to say, either you're going to push me away, shove me, and just say pervert, or if you're female, you're going to say abuse, rape, God knows what. So primarily the stick is for A, my protection, and B, to let other people know that there's something wrong with me.
Some of the symptoms are quite difficult to explain with MS. A lot of them are invisible, things like fatigue.
If you've got a headache and someone else has got a headache, fine. But if you say you're tired and I say I'm tired, we can understand the tiredness, because it's not the normal tiredness that the healthy person has. MS tiredness is totally different. And it's the same with any other side effects and relapses that you have. You can speak to someone with MS and they will fully understand what you're going through because they've experienced the same themselves.
Things like pain, where people can't see them, that's just quite a lot of emphasis on the person with MS to have to explain that, and that can be quite a challenge for them.
No one knows how you get the condition, and no one knows how to cure it. But what we do know is that it can get worse due to stress. In a survey that the MS Society undertook with 2,000 people with and without the condition, 75% of the people felt anxious and uncertain about their future once diagnosed with the condition. 44% of those people felt depressed about the condition. This means that 44% of people are putting their condition in jeopardy for not having the right attitude.
I think a lot of people with MS would say that having a positive attitude to their MS is a good thing and can help their symptoms. Certainly people that I've spoken to would say that they find it helpful to think about the things that they can do rather than things that they can't. Lots of people are diagnosed when they're young and can think, gosh, well, if I didn't have MS, I would be doing X, Y, and Z. But if they're able to think, well, actually, I'm able to do these things, and that can be a really positive thing. And people feel that that has helped them with their symptoms.
I don't want to become a couch potato, and I don't want to become a recluse. I just want to be open and above board to everyone, to carry on as if nothing has happened. You only get one life. You've got to live as much as you can and do as much as you can for everyone. End of.
In my experience, that actually having and keeping my mind right has, I think, sustained me over the last 25 odd, whatever how many years it is. because I do find that if I had not been positive about what I can do and how I can keep on doing, even as the condition progresses, it's been quite critical and quite crucial. And of course, it's not all about just positive attitude. It's having and as you develop over the years, the ability to respond to crisis, to respond to things that when they don't go the way that you expect, which is not easy, but I think it's a skill that needs to be developed because of the nature of this condition, because it's so variable.
You've got to open up and speak about it, especially to your friends and family, trying to explain the condition to them, learn more about the condition yourself, and try and get in touch with someone who has the condition, because they will understand all the things that are wrong with you, because chances are it's wrong with them as well.
Live well, to the best of your ability, to the best of your circumstances. It's a fight, but in life sometimes we have to stand and fight. And I think this is one of those situations where, with the best support around, to stand and fight.